Good evening, and welcome to the Readers Theatre Alliance performance of The American Experiment. We're a diverse group of people from Drexel University and beyond who believe in the value of fighting prejudice and injustice through drama. Now, we're in Independence Hall, the place, the building where it all began. Our founders gave us a vision and a framework, and Lincoln gave us a second chance.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
And if our founding mothers and fathers could speak today, I wonder what they would say about the state of their American experiment.
A name, a map, or a flag I see, a certain word, democracy. That is America to me. The children in the playground, the faces that I see, all races and religion. That's America to me.
I know what America is to me. I can only imagine what America was to Abigail Adams.
Another July 4th. I still remember the first one. The times were so uncertain, sometimes even terrifying. But the belief that we created a country that would provide its people with liberty, freedom, and equality made all the sacrifices worthwhile. In 1776, such a country like this was unthinkable. John and the other 55 founding fathers made it happen. I've celebrated this country with pride for over 243 years, even during the years when there was so much to question, but always with the feeling that in America, the potential to do better, to do something momentous was possible. Well, it's almost time. John, where are you? John Adams. It's time to attend another important 4th of July Founders Reunion. Are you ready?
Can't I have some peace? Are they still working on Independence Mall?
You aren't answering my question.
I'm not interested. The topics we discussed at our last reunion were inconsequential. In any case, who cares what we think? Our time has passed.
They never stopped you before from sharing your opinion.
Acting as though our brilliant experiment is still working would kill me, if that were even possible. We can't pretend everything down there is all right.
Oh, John, it was the same back in 1776. The delegates were talking about fishing rights, and you were thinking about revolution.
Well, doing nothing wasn't an option. I didn't get all I wanted, but I got the birth of our nation. Still, it bothers me that slavery persisted and the result was a civil war.
I know, dear. I remember it very well. If you, Ben, and Thomas hadn't given in on slavery, the Southern colonists never would have signed the Declaration of Independence, and we'd probably still be part of the British Empire.
Next time you see Mary Todd Lincoln, tell her to stop blaming me for not being a better negotiator and causing a civil war.
John, calm yourself. Getting angry won't help.
Yeah, it never did. Everyone hated me for my temper.
Hate is too harsh a word. Most people know without John Adams' persistence, there might never have been a United States of America.
Do you truly believe they care today? After losing over 30,000 patriots in a war with England, many Americans can't seem to get enough of the British royal family. What is going on in America today?
John, is that your melodious voice I hear? You sound like a raging bull.
Ben, I'm so glad you stopped by. Are you going to the July 4th reunion?
I never miss a reunion, especially if lovely ladies like you are there.
Still a flirt. I dare say the lovely ladies of today would as the expression goes, call you out on some of your behavior with the ladies.
Oh, that could be fun. Surely you and John will be there.
You speak about me as though I'm not here.
Don't be so sensitive, John. Are you going or aren't you going?
What for? I'm consumed with disgust. Just when things were moving again in the right direction, the flaws of our democracy reared their ugly head again. In 2008, when the first African American was elected president, we had a genuine reason to celebrate.
And in 2016, we are so certain we would have another reason to celebrate, a woman president. But it didn't happen. We've waited for so long. Since the beginning, we women have been treated as though the most we are capable of is to sew a flag.
I was disappointed too, Abby. Now, even more so. The leadership in the White House today is a nightmare. It's no wonder George Washington hasn't been to a recent July 4th celebration. He was a leader, a proud man, but he understood the limits of his position in a democracy. And he understood the need to inspire people and bring them together.
John, I hear you. I understand. Where's Jefferson? I know he's concerned too. Jefferson!
What do you want with Jefferson? It's a wonder we ever forgave each other for the way we treated each other. How ironic that we both died on July 4th, 1826, 50 years to the day we declared independence.
Well, perhaps Jefferson can help us understand why the country is going backwards. I think we need Lincoln too.
Have you been drinking too many pints of ale? Why would it matter to us? We can't do anything.
I can't believe that you, John Adams, don't see the need to understand the current situation. Jefferson, glad you're here. It's about time.
I know tonight is important, but what's the emergency? Martha and I were just getting ready for the July 4th reunion.
Good to see you both.
Adams has given up on our experiment.
Not John. I know him. He never gives up, even when he is wrong.
And who are you to say I was ever wrong?
Gentlemen, this doesn't help. Are you giving up, John?
If we were serious, we need to hear from those who see the flaws and can help explain the causes and conflicts that are paralyzing our government today.
I'm willing. I already know how tarnished my reputation has become. I promised to free all of my slaves, but I didn't. And as everybody knows today, I fathered children with one of my slaves.
Mom, I'm not excusing what you did. You say and did things I know you are now ashamed of. But it's also true you wrote a brilliant document that has inspired people around the world.
Martha, I'm grateful for your understanding, but I should have done better after you died. Well, I couldn't stand the loneliness.
Yes, dear.
All right, enough of our past sins. You have my attention. We need a diverse group of people who will tell us their truth. And from there, we will figure out, if we can, how to revive this democracy.
And that's my John. And this time, we women will not be silenced. This has to be a joint effort.
Absolutely. Let's ask Molly Pitcher to join us. Surely she deserves an opportunity to render an opinion. Her bravery during the war when her husband was shot was truly courageous. I understand there's a rest stop on New Jersey Road in her honor.
Ladies, invite anybody you think will have relevant input.
I'll ask Mr. Paul Revere to invite deaf people that represent leaders and average Americans, especially of the current times.
Fine. Let's have a town meeting at midnight tonight. Somebody contact Lincoln.
It seems somebody already did. Mr. Lincoln, it's an honor to meet you again, sir.
The honor is mine, Mr. Jefferson. Actually, I was on my way to see all of you because I'm very concerned about the ever-increasing divisions in our country.
Join the club, Mr. Lincoln. And I see you didn't bring your wife, Mary.
She's already depressed. I try to spare her when I can. Considering the sacrifices so many good people, it's troubling to see that the country is so deeply divided. I've said it before, and I will say it again. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
How true. We can use your wisdom. It seems we all agree that our democracy that we fought to create and you, Abe, fought to preserve is in jeopardy.
It is baffling that the very existence of the United States is now on trial.
Well, it is. Everybody, look out the window and look at those signs.
I'm looking. I didn't realize how angry people are today. There are so many signs.
The sign that intrigues me says, guns kill people. Change the Second Amendment.
This is my favorite. Super, fragile, racist, sexist, not my POTUS. America, what would our founding fathers say about America today?
Excellent question. What do we say?
We've struggled through unbearably difficult times before. Shed blood, brother against brother. Nothing could be worse for a country than a civil war. 750,000 Americans were killed by our own hands. Civil unrest that could lead to war is never the answer.
What is the answer? Do you understand what those signs are telling us?
I can't say I comprehend what's behind many of them, but the sign about reparations is very clear. It took me far too long to apply the pressure needed to eradicate slavery. It wasn't until 3 years into the Civil War that I used the office of the presidency to free the slaves. And it took 2 more years until Congress passed the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery and involuntary servitude.
It's been a long time since the end of slavery. Time for acceptance and restitution.
One might think so. We Northerners won the Civil War on the battlefield, but not in the hearts of all Americans. There is still much resentment among the people in many states that we fought. Perhaps if I had lived, I could have helped bring together our divided house in a more humane and healing way. It is the job of the president to bring the people together. Unfortunately, people of color are still victims of this resentment. Reparations is one way to compensate for irreparable harm that's been done.
What harm are you talking about? Hello, everybody.
Only picture. I'm so glad you could make it.
I'm deeply disturbed too. The people may be so angry at us that they may change the name of the rest stop in New Jersey.
I'm sure that won't happen. You deserve to be remembered for your courage. The question is, what needs to be done to save America today?
We can't answer that until we understand the source of the problems.
Over the years, there have always been divisions. The creation of America was a huge experiment. So many questions. What was right? What would work? Who was best to lead and how to lead? One would think after years of experimenting with large government and small government, high taxes and low taxes, isolation and leadership of the world, the people would know better how to solve the problems of the day.
If you recall, Mr. Adams, a major problem is the people have different versions of what America should be. So they go back to the Constitution to try to conjure up what we had in mind. I invited Madison to join us. He should be here very soon.
We had in mind? Let's not forget it took too many years for we the people to include women, Indians, and our African brothers and sisters.
Well, even though women weren't officially included, you have to agree that it was clear nobody wanted a dictator or king or one anointed person or a few to control the rest of us. Ultimately, we wanted people to have the power to help determine our own fate. But we did wonder if it made sense to invest so much power in the people when most of them had inadequate education and knowledge and experience to govern.
Madison understood that the people could be, as he said, as tyrannical as a monarch. Thus, he believed it was necessary to guard one part of the society against the oppression of the other. and there had to be respect for individual rights. Fortunately, Madison should be here any minute.
Did I hear my name? So, John Adams, you're at it again.
Good to see you too, James Madison.
Dolly, I'm grateful you could join us. We could use your talent for diplomacy.
Thank you, Abigail. We are both glad to be here.
What can we do for you?
It's not me, it's the people. What do you say when you hear the people say, we must interpret the Constitution exactly as it is written?
I say understand that the Constitution was written in such a general way that it could remain relevant throughout the years. We couldn't possibly predict the future, especially the inventions that have followed. Thus, we made it amendable. We also knew that the people were afraid of a strong central government. So we wrote the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments that protect the rights of the people.
I felt most fortunate that we were able to amend the parts pertaining to slavery.
I never wanted slavery to be approved in the original document. How grateful I am that it's no longer sanctioned by the Constitution.
You certainly didn't make your feelings known about slavery when you were working on the Constitution.
Now, John, you know at the time it was a controversial subject. Nevertheless, we have a lot to atone for.
Apparently, there are additional problems that the Constitution hasn't handled very well. I propose that we get on with this review.
I suggest we start with the signs that people are carrying outside. Our esteemed guests can help us understand their meaning and the background and the different perspectives. Are we agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Abigail, I didn't hear you.
I'm thinking about many of those signs, and it strikes me that women are not waiting for their menfolk to take charge. Women are actively protesting. They are worrying about the future of their children, and I understand their deep concern. In fact, I think it wouldn't hurt to have a woman in charge of this conference. Dolly Madison, you helped serve 2 administrations as hostess in the White House and demonstrated such bravery during the War of 1812. Would you host this event?
Thank you, Abigail. I'll be glad to help in any way I can. But I think you are the most suited for this role. From the very beginning, you advocated that women be included in We the People. You saw an equal role for women in government, women being educated like the men, and women having property rights. You were a revolutionary as much as your husband. It is time that strong women like you assume leadership positions.
Thank you, Dolly. I'm honored.
Well, it's just about midnight. Gathering from the turnout I see, Paul Revere did it again.
Let's begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for coming here tonight. It isn't often that we feel the need to awaken the dead, so to speak. You have earned your time of rest. We all have. But Abigail, would you like to continue?
Why, thank you, Ben. All of us here today are quite alarmed by the signs. The divisions in the country are enormous. We hope you can help us understand the causes of the discontent that are challenging our country.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but somebody who is dressed like Paul Revere invited both of us to join your July 4th reunion.
Are we in the right place? Do we have to wear a costume too?
Please, excuse me for a minute. John, who are these people? They have signs and they don't look dead.
Abigail, perhaps Paul Revere was in such a rush, he didn't realize who he was inviting.
Are you part of a tourist attraction? Is that why you're wearing costumes?
I bet I know. You're part of a performance in honor of July 4th.
What a novel idea. Well, welcome to our July 4th reunion performance, and you can play today's citizen.
This should be quite an experience. I'm glad I was invited. I guess you're supposed to be Benjamin Franklin.
Very true, and you are?
I'm Jack Weber, an engineer living in Philadelphia.
I'm Jane Chen Fisher. I also live and work in Philly, and if my memory is correct, based on the movie, you must be Abigail and John Adams.
My dear, you are absolutely right.
I'm Molly Pitcher.
And I'm Dolly Madison, wife of President James Madison, who is sitting over there.
Very authentic, all of you. I love your costumes.
So, you should know, we are members of the incarnation of the Founding Fathers and Mothers Association, and we are not happy with what's going on in our country.
That's right. We are trying to better understand the issues that appear to be the cause of divisions in the country.
We are using signs like the ones you are carrying as our topics of discussion.
Really? Is this some kind of interactive theater?
My dear Jane, you may call it what you like.
This is definitely going to be an unusual night.
We are very glad you are here. Rosa
Rosa
Parks.
Parks is ready to tell us her position on reparations.